accumulated $5 million of wealth. But what was unique about Kate was that, and the people around her knew that, she was worth a lot, but she lived as a street person, begging for food, and lived in a dilapidated little apartment that was unheated. When people talked about her, they began to use that phrase, cheap as Kate, to describe her and other things. One day, because of a misprint in a publication, it came out as cheapskate. And so it became the basis for that word. And we don't know really why she was so protective of her money and seemed to want to accumulate more without spending anything, but it was her life. I think it's a danger in our lives, certainly, that we become, in a sense, cheapskates. Because if you look around our lives, we can try to protect so easily what we have and want to accumulate more. It can become a way. It is the way that is not good for the celebration of the Eucharist either. We certainly do not want to become ones who accumulate more and more and protect what we have. It's not about that. It's about living bread, a living relationship with God that needs to go on. I was thinking how we do even the bread that we consecrate each week. The curious practice to begin to have a tabernacle where we store, in a sense, accumulate the bread so that we never run out. Of course, the starting of the tabernacle was because people celebrated the Eucharist in the early church, and some could not do there because of sickness, so that they began to store and accumulate the Eucharist for those who were sick. And over the years, then it began to be more than that. Actually, it became a place of reverence where the Eucharist was stored. Curiously, a few years ago, we were given the instruction when we celebrate Eucharist, especially on the weekend, we should not go to the tabernacle. We should use bread that is unconsecrated for the congregation, and that should be the bread that is there, and the leftovers go to the tabernacle, because it really makes it very conscious that when we celebrate Eucharist, we don't just bring out old consecrated bread and place it on the altar, but we consecrate new bread. Of course, the problem becomes when do you ever go to the tabernacle, because it starts piling up in there. But that's really what we do now. We do not go to the tabernacle, if you notice, on Sunday. We do during the weekdays. We try to use up the leftovers during the week. But I think it says something to us about how living bread that is given to us is not an abstract reality. I think it's how Jesus designed it. It's something that's alive and vibrant, and it must be that presence in us, in our community. It cannot be static, but it is something actually that we eat, and it becomes a part of us. That's, I think, why Jesus designed it that way in essence. We have been studying this past year our church building, and I wonder if it's similar there. This church building that was built 50 years ago cannot be something that stays static, but it is a part of us that's very alive. It becomes something that serves our worship. And the way it was built back in 1961 was good for its day, and amazingly, it's still very good today. It really serves us well. And in our almost a year of study, we, as this committee has been kind of working on that and looking at our building, we found, I believe, that our building is a tremendous gift to this parish. And it's a very solid, studied the documents, and we have listened to some experts who came in and kind of looked at our space and gave us their evaluation. Last Tuesday night, I think, was kind of a big moment. There were probably 50 or 60 of us who came to the meeting. And we talked about what we remember about issues and values in our church building. We talked for a little over an hour, and finally the question came, is it time for us to make the next step to do something with this building? In other words, do we stop it here and just let it be? Because in many ways, as I said, we do celebrate Eucharist here and it works. But is this the moment that we want to move to address some of those issues? And we decided to have a raising of hands, and as we did, I looked around the room. I didn't see anybody who didn't raise their hand. I may have missed one or two here or there. I think it was basically unanimous. Yes, it is time for us to make to move on to the next step. Now, what's the next step? Of course, it's the issue, but I think it means really that we are agreeing that we want